Welcome, everyone, to the NUSAI Health Community. This initiative, brought to you by the Alice Lee Center for Nursing Studies, ALKNS, at the Yon Luoline School of Medicine, National University of Singapore, NUS, is part of the NUSAI Community of Practice, NUSAI CA. Our primary aim is to educate healthcare professionals on the application of artificial intelligence, AI, in healthcare. This project is funded by the NUS Center for Teaching, Learning and Technology, CTLT, Teaching Enhancement Grants, TEG, FY 2023/2024. Within our learning community, we offer foundational AI knowledge and skills tailored specifically for healthcare professionals. We also promote collaboration and share AI-integrated teaching plans for healthcare education among local and international participants. Allow me to introduce the dedicated members of the NUSAI Health Community who contribute their expertise and enthusiasm towards leveraging AI for the betterment of healthcare. We also extend our gratitude to NUS Center for Teaching, Learning and Technology, CTLT, for their invaluable contributions towards funding and publicity, which have been instrumental in making our community thrive. But that's not all. Brace yourselves for our monthly webinars featuring expert speakers delving into AI and its myriad applications in healthcare industry and education. Additionally, our platform serves as a hub for learning resources and event updates, ensuring you stay updated of all the latest developments. And if that's not enticing enough, our YouTube channel hosts a wealth of training courses focused on AI in the healthcare industry and education. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be part of this dynamic community. Subscribe to our channel at NUSA Health Community and visit our website to stay tuned for exciting updates on our upcoming events.
Hello, good afternoon, our researcher, educators, and our participants. I hope you can hear me. Okay. Right, thank you for joining us today for our webinar series organizing by NUSAI Health Community. My name is Piani Yobash, and I am the main facilitator for the community, and I will serve as your host today. Please be informed that this webinar will be recorded. We will upload the video onto the social platforms, including website, Instagrams, and YouTube. We arrange the webinar on a monthly basis. For today, it is my privilege to introduce our speaker, Dr. Emir Hassan Monajemi. He is a senior lecturer in AI and data science at the School of Computing, National University of Singapore. Dr. Emir has taught diverse computer science courses for many years. He registered patients in the field of AI machine vision and machine learning. He publishes more than 200 papers in peer reviews, index journals. He also supervised several industrial projects in various scales. Today, he will deliver the webinar entitled AI Application, ChatGPT, and Ethical Considerations. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Emir Hassan Monajemi. Dr. Emir, please take this from here. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Thank you very much, Piani. Everybody, good afternoon. A warm welcome and thank you very much for joining us in this webinar. Without any delay, I'm going to share my screen and start presenting the topic. Let's move ahead and see what we have got here. Yeah, hopefully you can see the slides now. Okay, what we are going to talk about is AI applications, in particular large language models and ChatGPT as one of the most popular large language models in public health, in health sector in general, and in education. And one of the pivots of this presentation would be ethical consideration that everybody should bear in mind while using those LLMs, ChatGPT, and so on. So let's move ahead with the slides. This is a bit about me. Just whenever you want to address me, just use Amir. That would be much easier for everybody. The topics that we are going to cover today, hopefully we manage to just have a kind of touch and go in these couple of hours together. AI and generative AI, just a brief review. Large language models, LLMs, and particularly ChatGPT, which is popular, regular. Applications and impacts of LLMs and ChatGPT. In particular, we are going to address education, health sector as two focal points. And we will continue with ethical considerations and we will sum it up at the end. Let's start with AI and generative AI. This is a kind of illustration about the definition of AI, what AI is. Okay, we have got some categories of duties, some fields that traditionally only human operators could have performed. Traditionally, because now in some of those categories, you can feel and see the presence of AI. But traditionally, reasoning and inference, detection and recognition, like fingerprint, speech, etc., or automatic control, such as driving a car, innovation and creation means that finding new solutions for an existing problem. Understanding and showing emotions and generating, creating pieces of art where only human can do fields. However, if a computer system, a robot, a machine can enter those areas and do the job efficiently with high performance, that machine, that robot, that model, that system, whatever you want to call it, it could be just a software, could be a combination of software, hardware. That thing is AI. That thing is AI. And this is a formal definition of AI. Going into those only human can do fields and do the job effectively, efficiently, not with low performance. That's the meaning of having AI in a machine, in a system. Okay, just a bit of history of AI. AI started formally just a few years after introduction of digital computers and programming back to mid-1950s. During these 70 or so years of its history, not a very long one, it has had some ups and downs, some periods of great expectations, some periods of disappointment. After a few of those fluctuations, actually in the late 1990s, the last years of the last century, we saw a kind of maturity and being stable for AI. Of course, that the rate of development, the growth rate wasn't that high. However, early years of 21st century, 2005, 2006, the introduction of deep learning, that was a U-turn, that was a big breakthrough for AI and its community. Now AI is everywhere, now development is very fast. Now we are living in AI era, AI, machine learning, and other peripheral and psychic products of AI. What is generative AI? A rather new field. I mentioned that AI is some 70-year-old. Generative AI just introduced around 20 years ago. And the real introduction to the public wasn't even more than 10 years ago. But in the field of research and for AI people, we have had it since 20 years ago, but for the public, just 10 years. What are generative AI? We saw the definition of AI. AI means doing something that a machine can do using models similar with our brain or our mental system, decision making, recognition, detection, etc., understanding, etc. But in the field of generative AI, generative AI models are the ones that can generate new documents. That documents could be as simple as text, could be an image, could be a video, and so on. And the result, that created, generated document is close to our expectations. It is synthetic, but realistic. And actually, to do that, they are machine learning models. They need to have existing documents as patterns, and then they will learn from those existing documents about how to generate new ones. And in some cases, that is not a document that you can see. We can consider any answer provided by ChatGPT as something generated, something created. Based on what? Based on many documents that ChatGPT had been trained based on them. And because of being trained based on those documents, now ChatGPT would be able to generate some natural answers, some high quality answers to me and you, something close to our natural language. Basically, inside a generative AI model, you can see many machine learning modules, mostly deep learning modules. And also, those generative AI would be able to modify documents. That deep fake video, this is the results of modification of some videos by AI, by generative AI. Or they would be able to summarize a document. The thing that ChatGPT is very good in, and combining document, etc. Anything about a document, okay. They are good to deal with that. And examples that you can see in this slide. This is actually, she's nobody. She's nobody. Actually, this portrait has been generated by, again, generative AI model. And this is when we ask ChatGPT to describe an equation, famous equation in physics for us. This is composition of an answer in natural language using mathematical equations. And you can see that the description of that famous equation, E equal mc squared, is safe and sound. Different generative AI models, if we want to consider just the most important one, we have got generative adversarial network. They are good in generating images, new images, and pieces of music, etc. Variational autoencoders, autoregressive models, recurrent neural networks, they were all good in as generative models, but the most popular generative model now are transformers, and Gemini, ChatGPT, large language model, they are basically transformers. These new AI model is very good in dealing with natural languages as well as many other things. So we have got different generative AI models. The most popular one, let's say, with respect to all other models, the most important one are transformers. They can do many things for us, in particular when we are dealing with natural languages. And general applications of generative AI, not only transformers, not only GANs, but all of them. I showed you this. You can see that this is the results of using a GAN, this portrait. She's nobody. A realistic but synthetic image generated by a GAN model. This one composed by a transformer. ChatGPT is a transformer, and this is results of asking something from ChatGPT. So we saw these two models and the things that they can do for us. So let's get back to this slide. Generative AI general applications, text generation, image generation, actually music and audio generation. It doesn't matter if it is video or audio. Data augmentation, generating new data samples, new data sets, new databases. Why we need something like this? When the real data is scarce. When real data is scarce, we can ask generative AI to generate realistic but synthetic data for us. And that would be helpful in many cases. Style transfer from one document to another one. Video game design is one of the applications of generative AI. They will help game developers in generating new characters, in generating new scenes and new stages of video games. And apart from video games, you can generalize these particular application of generative AI towards some new applications, towards some more serious applications, such as virtual reality, such as augmented reality, developing virtual reality models by generative AI, developing augmented reality environments using generative AI, and developing some learning scenarios, for instance, for surgeons, for students who are going to learn something about surgery. They can use that scenarios, virtual reality, augmented reality scenarios developed by generative AI. And there could be some advantages, in particular, if we consider the cost. Anything that machines can generate for us would be much cheaper than asking human operators to generate that for us. History of generative AI, as I mentioned, the efforts in universities, research centers started many years ago, more than 20 years ago. However, 2014 we can consider as the year that GANs were introduced by Ian Goodfellow, my friend, and his team. 2016, we have got the foundation of OpenAI. Their mission, OpenAI is the company behind the ChatGPT and GPT models. Their mission was considered to ensure that artificial general intelligence, AGI, because we can consider ChatGPT as a touch of artificial general intelligence. Their mission was to ensure that artificial general intelligence is available for the public. Actually, that OpenAI was an open source business. AI integration and ethical consideration, we paid more attention to those components, to those topics just since 2020. And OpenAI releases GPT-3 in 2020, a powerful large language model engine behind ChatGPT. Of course, that they used GPT 3.5, but basically it is GPT-3. 2022 introduction of AI generative models based on LLMs that can generate graphics, images, even videos. We have got DALL-E. Later, ask me and I will remind you why they call that model DALL-E. And there's a nice story behind this name. Actually, this name comes from two resources. And then speed of development of large language model, speed of popularity of large language model. This is just as fast as a missile. You can see that GPT 3.5, GPT-4, GPT-4o. On the other side, we have got BERT models family like Gemini. We have got open source white box large language models like Llama and so on. Now, everybody all around the world is familiar with those large language models. and they are capable, they are helpful. And of course, we should consider some points, some ethical considerations should be considered when we use them. Anyhow, let's move ahead with this. Now, just in 3-4 years, we saw a wave of popularity amongst large language models, simply because they showed that they are capable. This is just to show you some details in the background of generative AI. I'm going to bypass that because it's not important. Just this is for your reference for friends who wanna know more about the details of models behind the scene, which were important in development of generative AI, ChatGPT, for instance. Over here, again, in this slide, you can see a more detailed history of generative AI. Cycle GANs, for instance, star GANs introduced in 2017, 2018. These 2015 deep convolutional GAN, they were very good. That was a good breakthrough in the history of GANs. Later in 2020, we saw a shift towards large language model. They weren't the most important subfield in AI. Now they are. Once the most important thing, the most popular things in the field of AI was, for instance, developing classifiers, machine learning models who are dealing with, for instance, images, videos, etc., to classify it or to detect some objects in some videos. And then after that introduction of ChatGPT, we can see that, okay, this is a big shift towards generative AI and in particular towards large language model. Why? What is the reason behind that? I will mention the most important reason behind the popularity and importance. Why large language models are that important? I will tell you about the reason behind that. Okay, detailed history, and now we are here. Now we have got them in hand. We have got large language models. We have got ChatGPT. They are useful. They are capable and viable. They are general, public. Of course, that some models are payable, but generally speaking, many large language models are free, and even the payable models, something like $10 per month, $20 per month, is not that expensive. Anyway, now we are in the era of using implementation of large language model. Of course, that development, behind the scene development by researchers, by academies, by big businesses like OpenAI, like NVIDIA, like Amazon, they are working on development and training of better large language model. And as a user, as I mentioned now, we are all familiar with the merits of large language models like ChatGPT, that general chatbots based on large language models like ChatGPT. Let's focus on large language models and ChatGPT, the basic structure, if you want to consider the basic model or basic structure behind that large language models, therefore behind general chatbots like ChatGPT, we should consider transformers, as I mentioned, as the model behind them. Introduction of transformers occurred in 2017 by a paper published by Aswani. Attention is all you need. Before that, in the field of natural language processing, the most important neural network model was recurrent neural network, and in particular, long short-term memory. Using attention mechanism, now we have got some feed-forward models that are capable in dealing with natural languages in understanding, therefore in generating. The heart of any successful transformer is this attention mechanism. And we have got more than one deep learning model inside the transformer. One of them does the encoding, one of them does the decoding. Generally speaking, different structures are there. In some cases, they may omit the decoder part, but anyway, we can find traces of deep learning models over there as well as attention. And if we want to consider the technical components inside the transformer, therefore, technical components that were behind the success of ChatGPT, we have got self-attention mechanism and multi-head attention. If we want to define that very simply, it shows the importance of each word in a sentence. It conveys the importance of each word in a sentence. And this is a kind of mutual importance, the correlation. Somehow it's not very correct to call it correlation, but the relation between two words. Positional encoding to have the position of each word in the sentence. So self-attention mechanism, okay, what is the relation between these words? What are the importance, relative importance of those words compared to each other? Multi-head attention, assigning more than one attention value to words. Encoder and decoder stacks, if I want to define them very simply, encoder converts the words in a sentence, your prompt, your question, to a kind of numerical representation, embedding numerical representation, a long vector with many components would be declared for words and phrases. So we convert a text into a long array of numbers. This is encoding, internal representation of words and sentences in our transformer. And then decoder, on the other hand, when we want to compose something and show that to people, that internal representation of internal numerical representation of answers should be converted to a text and should be shown to the user, where you can get the answer from your ChatGPT, etc. Residual connection means that we want to keep the words as well as that different and various and heavy encoding that we apply on words. We will keep them in different layers of our deep neural network inside transformer, deep neural networks inside our transformers, which are encoder and decoder. And basically, we will have more than one feed-forward deep neural network over there to facilitate the services that a transformer requires. But, okay, now we have got transform, a backbone, a model to develop large language model. Then, above this large language model, so we use transformers to develop our large language model. Above that large language model, after a bit of mitigation, etc., a bit of moving towards a special purpose facilities that we need, above a large language model, we develop our ChatGPT and other general or public chatbots. So, okay, components, a transformer. Based on that, a large language model is an AI model that can understand, generate, and manipulate natural languages. Natural language text, not natural language paragraphs, trained on massive amount of text data to learn the patterns, structures, and semantic of language or languages in the case of ChatGPT. For instance, in the case of GPT-3, they have used 4.6 billion web pages to learn natural languages to their model. So the data set used, a massive data set used, is 4.6 billion web pages used by OpenAI to train their GPT model when the kernel was GPT-3 3.5. So the wizard of learning a language, just give it 4.6 billion web pages, and that machine, that transformer, will realize what is the meaning of this sentence, what is the meaning of that sentence, how to compose the words to show this idea, how to compose the words and build up sentences to suggest that opinion or that fact, and something like this. Performs a wide range of language-related tasks such as text generation, translation, summarization, Q&A, sentiment analysis, and so on. And inside that model, large language model, we have got a very complicated structure with many free parameters that would be set during the training. Parameters of that encoders, decoders, whatever we use, they all should be set during the training. Okay. Now, different large language model developed by OpenAI. We have got GPT, stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative, okay, it generates text. Pre-trained, okay, 4.6 billion web pages to train that. Transformer, because it uses the transformer structure, encoder plus decoder to develop, to understand the input and to develop the output. BERT, developed by Google, stands for bidirectional encoder transformers, and they use the structure that is slightly different from what OpenAI has used. And that Gemini, etc., are chatbots developed based on BERT model. And now, okay, now we have got transformers. Okay, the model that we can use, technology that we can use to develop our large language model. Above a large language model as an application for large language models, we can have general chatbots, something like ChatGPT. AI language model developed by OpenAI and can understand context. This is important. A chatbot should be able to understand context, understand what you want, then compose an answer for you. This is the miracle of ChatGPT. Understanding what you mean and answering, providing a proper answer for that. And okay, different stages in life cycle of model like ChatGPT, pre-training, then pre-training to understand the language and languages, fine-tuning to be proper as a chat, and post-processing. Okay, over here we need to do many things because this model can be abused. We need to go for a kind of post-processing to develop, compose a proper answer and avoid many hazards on those answers, many offenses in those answers. Okay, so about transformers, use cases are very diverse. Use cases are really diverse. Let's have a look at them. But before moving ahead, I'm going to ask you kindly scan this QR code and answer a couple of questions, multiple choice questions that you can find in this one. This is a kind of interaction, your participation over here. Please scan this QR code and or okay, I can share with you this link in Zoom group chat as well. I guess QR code is easier. Let me see if I can scan that QR code myself or not. If I can do that, so you can do that. Please let me know if QR code is problematic, but I believe that it is okay. Okay, LLM chatbots and you. My question, actually two questions. Question one, which LLM or public chatbot you use more? Please select one of them. Of course, the last option in this MCQ is I don't use LLMs and chatbots at all. This is another. And before that, you have got others. Please answer that. I would like to know, and it's not bad because now we have got around 80 participants here. It is not bad to realize what is the most popular public chatbot now in October 2024. Next question that I'm going to ask you to kindly answer me, and we will review the answers in this seminar in a couple of minutes, is generally you assume LLMs or chatbots as something good, neutral, or bad. That's up to you to select. Why I mentioned question one? To realize the popularity of different large language models, different chatbots. Question two, why I put it here? Because a part of our seminar today is ethical considerations. And in ethical considerations, it's important to realize what we consider as advantage or disadvantage of that models. Let me check the answers and show them to you as well. Where should I go? I stopped sharing. You just can see me now. I'm going to my forms and find your answers, and then I will share my screen with you once again. Okay, where is that form in my Google Drive? Hello, Google Drive, how are you? Are you okay today? Okay. There we go.
Let me see the response.
That is the form. Let me
Okay.
share that with you. Let me share that with you.
And
Good.
while you're waiting for the result, can I check with the participant that you can see? There's one participant say that they can't see the screen. How about the others?
Now they should be able to see that.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I will wait for more answers to these two simple questions, and then we quickly move ahead by reviewing the next steps. I will wait for one more minute, and then we will review the answers together to realize more about the situation. Then we'll continue with the slides. Let's see. I guess you can see that screen now. So 48 responses, okay. Good. Let's check the responses. 77% ChatGPT. I don't use LLMs, chatbots, 14%. A Microsoft Copilot over the Gemini as well. Okay, I expected something like that. ChatGPT as the most popular one, as we can guess. But I expected more popularity for Gemini and Microsoft Copilot, obviously for people who are involved with data analytics using Microsoft Azure or doing something serious in Office, for instance, Excel, etc. Okay. For them, Microsoft Copilot is something good. And Copilot was developed based on GPT model. Next question, generally, you assume LLM chatbots as something good, neutral, or bad. Good for ChatGPT, we just have got 2% bad. More than half consider that as something good, and some 42% consider that as something neutral. What I'm going to say that good or bad, it is inevitable. It is here and it will stay. It is not avoidable, either good or bad. It is inevitable. I mean, large language models like ChatGPT. So we had better learn how to deal with it. We had better learn how to consider ethical consideration while dealing with this. And this is the things that I'm going to cover now on in this presentation. Let's move ahead quickly with uh, these. And thank you very much for your participation in this part. In this question. Let's move ahead to the next applications and impact, something important to consider. General applications of ChatGPT and other large language model, other general chatbot, not only ChatGPT. We can consider the same applications for Gemini, not for Copilot. Copilot has got its own special purpose application, but for something like Gemini or ChatGPT, customer support and virtual assistant of customers. That customer could be someone, a patient that wanna visit your virtual clinic. Consider that in health sector, customer should be a patient. Customer should be a doctor who needs some special support and something like this. Content creation and writing assistance, we know about that. Programming and software development for programmers. ChatGPT is something very useful because ChatGPT is, and other LLMs, because of some reasons, they are very good in programming, in particular Python and Java. Content personalization and marketing. Again, this is something obvious. Business operations and automation. How? I will show you an example of that, again, in the field of education. Legal and contract analysis. Whatever document you have got, ChatGPT can analyze that for you. Again, I will show you an example of that, not about legal document, but about something in philosophy and literature. And if we want to consider other applications and more specific applications of something like ChatGPT, we will come across data analysis and visualization, entertainment and gaming, financial service and advisory services, research and scientific discovery, very important, recruitment and human resources, management, government and public services. Again, ChatGPT can help as a kind of intelligent chatbot for people who want to know more about public services, government branches and services. Personal productivity, again, something that is very familiar for us. And let's focus on these two particular applications of ChatGPT. In education as a learning assistance, tutoring and homework help. We know that ChatGPT can help us with that. And of course, there are some ethical consideration in this particular field, plagiarism, etc. Reliance on that. Language translation and learning, again, very important, not only for natural languages, but also for programming languages. Whatever language you want to learn, either programming, 0-1 coding, etc., or a new natural language, that ChatGPT can help you vastly. In healthcare support, patient communication, you can provide a kind of special purpose ChatGPT or LLM, not necessarily ChatGPT, to answer specific questions asked by your patients round the clock, 24/7. And again, to have a kind of mental health support, a kind of advisor. Whenever there is no psychiatrist or advisor to help people with mental problems, a special purpose LLM can be there to help. And this help is decisive when we are dealing with an aging population, aging society, We need to have some automatic systems for patient communications. When we are dealing with a smaller and smaller families, where the support provided by family is a kind of diminishing, we need to have systems for that mental health support. And using LLMs, we can move ahead with that. But I mentioned that there is a shift in AI community towards LLMs, large language models like ChatGPT. And now they are the most important player in the field of AI. We can guess that in the field of technology. Why? Just think. Just think. So far, the most impactful, critical, and disruptive inventions made by human beings have been either about language or information knowledge transfer. The most important invention we have had is language and talking, script and writing, no doubt. After that, print and publishing, Gutenberg machine, books, cheap everywhere, libraries, and then internet. All these four, as the most important inventions made by human beings, are either about language or about knowledge transfer. And now ChatGPT is here, and other LLMs, not necessarily ChatGPT, not only ChatGPT. In the field of natural language, capable in knowledge transfer, viable in knowledge transfer in the field of language. So the next most important inventions that we have seen could be LLMs, general chatbots, and this, for example, for instance, ChatGPT. Natural language tool that can break the barriers of knowledge transfer. So, impacts. Two most important impacts of LLMs, ChatGPT. Democratization of knowledge and information, automation, and efficiency in operations. And these two facts, these two phenomena, these two things that ChatGPT and other LLMs can do for us will impact society and businesses. Society and businesses. Okay, businesses everywhere, any business. Example. You may try this prompt. If you have got ChatGPT, if you have got Gemini, try this prompt. Let's talk, I'm talking about applications in learning, customization of your ChatGPT for learning as a tool that can help people to learn. And what is the scenario here? We are going to ask ChatGPT to describe that Pythagoras theorem in right angled triangles for us, but using two scenarios. One, how to describe that for a primary school kid. Two, how to describe and prove that for a higher school student. Customization done by the same model. So prompt one, let's talk about mathematics, giving the background. And Pythagoras theorem, I deliberately made a mistake here in writing that. This is not right. And rect triangle, which is again a mistake. I deliberately made these two mistakes. And please describe them to me. Your role is teacher, and I'm a 9-year-old primary school kid. And this is the reason. Answer is like that. Very plain explanation of that. It realized that I meant Pythagoras theorem, and by rect triangle, I meant right angle triangles. It realized that and compensated my question. You can see that first, do you know what a right angle triangle is? It is a triangle that has one corner where the angle is exactly 90 degrees. The square of the hypotenuse, the longest side, is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. And an example like that. And again, next example, customization. Background, context. Let's talk about mathematics and Pythagoras theorem on right-angled triangles. Please describe that to me. Your role is a teacher and I am a 17-year-old high school student. I need to see the proof too. And this is the definition. Now, explanation for a high school kid who's not bad in mathematics, who's not bad in geometry. And you can see that now it is much more complicated, much more detailed and technical. And now this is drawn to prove that. A very clear proof using this drawing, this illustration, and you can see that ChatGPT managed to prove that very clearly. Exact definition, considering the context and background, customization regarding the situation of the user. And this is very good for your patients as well. If you're going to develop something for health sector, customization. Over here, you can see that. And okay, this is a complete and acceptable proof of that. This is our example one. Two cases, two scenarios, two target audiences, primary school and high school. And you can see the differences clearly. And this proof for Pythagoras theorem is very good. It was sentenced clearly, described clearly. Learning example two, but before going for this part, which shows how we can use ChatGPT for literature and philosophy, I'm going to show you that this one, customization of a chatbot to help students and patients and people who want to have a kind of psychiatric advisory, how we can do them automatically instead of typing a prompt. It is possible to develop some programs. For instance, I have developed a Python program for that, connecting to OpenAI engines, LLM engines automatically. Of course, that you should have some, you should register for some payable services. However, everything would be here. This is a Python program that I have developed. Same questions, but I'm not going to prompt anything. I've got a data set. Over here, you can see that inside this Python program of students and their categories. One shows that primary school kids, two shows a high school kid. And therefore, we can read the data of different students. Based on that situation, we compose a prompt, we get connect to that engine of ChatGPT. Over here, the engine that I use, if I can find that engine, my engine is, mama, where is it? Can't find the name. Oh, yes, this is over here. I used GPT 3.5 Turbo as my model, and I get connected to that engine automatically. If I run that, you can see the answers. For John, primary school kid, answer would be composed automatically, so you can read the record of John, and whenever John asks you about Pythagoras theorem, your answer would be customized for him automatically. Prompt sending to ChatGPT with clear description of target audience, etc., automatically with your program. API key to get connected to that OpenAI engine, and here you are the answer for John, type 1, primary school. And this is Pythagoras theorem for him answering that regarding the situation of John. Data that we have got about John, customization. For Bruce, student category is 2. And the answer would be more mathematical, diagram, proof, etc. automatically. And you can see that again, Jackie is a student number 3, type is 1, primary school, and the answer provided for him. So whenever Jackie, Bruce, or John ask something from my chatbot, that chatbot consider their information, peripheral information, metadata, and automatically provide a good answer. But in background, they ask ChatGPT to provide that answer. Prompting would be done over there. Let's get back to our slides and continue with the next example, which is literature and philosophy. Okay, Pythagoras, mathematics, geometry. Now, let's talk about this poem. Let's talk about this poem, asking ChatGPT. Again, everything can be done automatically via a program, a Python program, Java program that get connected to that engine, ask automatically, and get the answer automatically from that engine. But here in the prompt, let's talk about this poem. The moving finger writes and having written. What is the meaning of that? You are a literature expert and I'm a novice in the field of literature and philosophy. Okay, now the answer. Firstly, it started with the poem, the moving finger writes and having writ, moves on, nor all your Python nor wit shall load it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. Okay, complicated. And the answers, because I know about this poem personally. Description, explanation is excellent. Considering that this is for a guy who is novice in the field of literature and philosophy. The explanation of this complicated philosophical poem, quatrains, 4 verses, is very clear and good. Next. Okay, philosophical implications. I read it and I promise you that it was very good, considering the context. Literature and philosophy. Now, let's move ahead. Another example of customization. Let's talk about this poem, The Moving Finger, whatever. What is the meaning of that? You are a literature expert and I'm good in the fields of literature, poetry, and philosophy. And keep the temperature high means go for a kind of randomness, more randomness in answer. This is one of the hyperparameters that you can set while dealing with ChatGPT. And again, because I'm familiar with that poem and that poet, I can tell you that again, for an expert, this definition, this explanation is something excellent. Something excellent. We can say that for a machine, it is better than expectations. For a machine, it is better than expectations. And how many people around you in Singapore are familiar with this kind of Middle Eastern philosophy and poetry? A few. A few. But anybody, any student, any researcher who want to know about this kind of thing, now they are okay. They can use ChatGPT. And of course, that we should consider those considerations that I'm going to describe, but that's good. I'm going to say that that's very good. Now you have got someone who is an expert in Middle East literature and philosophy and can describe the meaning and motivations behind, opinions behind that complicated poem. The moving finger writes and having read moves on, nor all your piety or wit shall lower it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. That's easy. Move ahead again, as I mentioned, very good explanation, 2 levels, novice and expert. And again, this is the program that I ran and showed you that we can do them automatically, answers for 2 type of students. And now let's talk about that ethical considerations quickly. When we talk about large language models and something like ChatGPT and ethical considerations, my dear friends, we should consider different points of view, different approaches, and different aspects. Okay, ethical considerations for developers of those models, ChatGPT and so on. Ethical consideration for general users, ordinary people, and ethical considerations for learners, students, etc. People who want to use that while they are learning. People who want to use ChatGPT, for instance, as a tool to help them with their courses and studies. Okay, so I'm going to analyze these ethical considerations, categorize them into 3 categories: ethical considerations for developers, for general users, or for public users, for learners and students. Ethical considerations for large language model developers: bias and fairness. We use data to train that model. If data be biased or wrong, the things that model learned would be biased and wrong, no doubt. Transparency and explainability. Okay, we are going to use these models in health sector. A decision will be made by these models and someone is not happy and satisfied with that decision made by these LLM models. So in some cases, we should be able to explain that. And developers should be careful about using fair data, unbiased data, should be careful to increase the transparency and explainability of their models. Otherwise, serious applications of those LLMs would be a kind of problematic. And of course, that those LLMs, usually they are transformers, deep learning models, a combination of a few deep learning models, and they are black box AI models. However, we should find a way and we should study how to make them as transparent as possible, as explainable as possible. Privacy and data security. We use people's data while training this model. Okay. Are we allowed to do that? Have we been allowed to do that? Nobody knows. 4.6 billion web pages we use. And again, someone may ask some questions about someone else. Should we provide the answer or no? Misinformation and disinformation. Again, some people may mitigate a large language model which deliberately or unwillfully, willfully or unwillfully, provide misinformation and disinformation for people, and people will trust it. I'm not talking about ChatGPT. Generally speaking, any LLM can be used here and there and can generate misinformation and disinformation, willfully or unwillfully, because of unwillfully using of biased and unfair data or no. We deliberately ask this LLM to provide some misinformation and disinformation. Harmful and offensive content. Many questions could be offensive, many answers, many questions and answers. And we should be careful about that. Intellectual property and copyright. We answer some question, we use some data. That data could be copyrighted. And we didn't know that. Job displacement, economic impact, we should be careful about that. Although that nobody can stop this trend, I believe. Environmental impact, because of large language model need high performance supercomputers to be trained and to be run. Therefore, okay, that servers, they consume a vast amount of electricity and so on. Human oversight and control, we should have it. As developer, we should consider that, okay, humans should have the final word over here. Accountability and responsibility. Sometimes we can see manipulation and social engineering done by some people using those large language models. Should be stopped. Should be stopped. So, dual use concept. A knife in hand of a criminal will kill innocent people. The same knife in hand of a surgeon will save the lives. This is the meaning of dual use concept. Some people may abuse the power of large language model to find something, to know something, to do something, to learn how to do something, which is not good for the public. Manipulation and social engineering could be done. This is another example of dual use concept. Misinformation, disinformation is another example of dual use concept. Dual use concept, same tool can be used, can be abused. And let's move ahead. If you ask me, what are the most dangerous and most decisive, most important ethical considerations amongst these 12 points that I mentioned here, and I reviewed them very quickly, very briefly, because of the sake of time. If you ask me, amongst these 12 for developer, what LLM developers, what are the three most important, most considerable, and most decisive ones? To me, they are harmful and offensive content. This is not completely fair, but I'm going to say that those LLMs with their knowledge inside a big LLM, like ChatGPT, like Gemini, they are just like that chemistry teacher in Breaking Bad movie, TV series. If you haven't seen that Breaking Bad, you don't understand what I mean, but many of you have seen that movie. And they understand what I mean by knowledge inside ChatGPT, Gemini, are just like the knowledge of that chemistry teacher in Breaking Bad. Harmful and offensive content, they are inside that machine, but we should be careful, never reveal them to users. Never answer dangerous, harmful, and offensive questions because we have got the knowledge to answer them. Intellectual property and copyright, because of using massive data, there are many resources that we have built up our model based on them, but without considering the intellectual property and copyright. That this is something that in the next generation, next versions of ChatGPT and other LLMs should be considered more seriously and more concisely. Dual use concept. Again, that is one of my concerns over here, most important one. Dual use concept, ethical consideration. As an LLM developer, we should stop them as much as we can. We should be careful about abusing the knowledge that we put inside that machine. We should be able to realize if someone is going to use that for misinformation, disinformation. So, first aspect of ethical consideration, developers. Next one, for LLM users in general. For most decisive ethical consideration for me and you, if we are members of public who are going to use ChatGPT. Human AI interaction and over reliance. We should be careful. This is a machine. We are going to use that. But it shouldn't be like forgetting all our skills in writing, in composing, in finding the answers, in thinking and having critical thinking and analytics ability. This is very important. We should avoid over-reliance on those machines as human beings. Kind of having lazy brains after a while. Won't be able to compose a paragraph, an email, asking ChatGPT to do this, to do that. Okay, using them is inevitable. Nobody can stop that, but we should be careful about keeping a balance. Use our brains as well. Asking ChatGPT to do everything for us, not fair. Content moderation and harmful art. Don't ask bad questions. Don't ask dangerous questions. Of course, that this is their duty, this is their responsibility to stop generating those answers. But as a member of public, as a responsible member of public, never ask such questions. Never ask such controversial questions or questions that the answers could be dangerous or harmful or offensive for someone or someone's. Plagiarism and intellectual property. If you use ChatGPT, mention that you have used that. Don't claim the intellectual property ownership of a text generated by ChatGPT. In some cases, we are allowed to use ChatGPT, okay, and we are not supposed to declare that. But in some cases, we should declare that. Okay, the resource was ChatGPT. I have used ChatGPT to compose this essay, to compose this report, and so on. Privacy and confidentiality. Again, don't ask some questions that may break other people's privacy and confidentiality. Again, the main response is for developers. But over here, let's be a responsive member of publics. We are living here, we want to keep our society safe and sound. So we should be responsible when we ask something about the private life of other people, because the knowledge is there, and ChatGPT might be able to answer that. And confidentiality, privacy is not just like that. You can ask ChatGPT to analyze the behavior of someone for you, someone that you know. And ChatGPT can do that for you. Be careful about that. Be careful about that. You may ask ChatGPT if this someone with this character is honest or not. We must be careful because the answers are there. Okay. And the third aspect, the third approach, ethical considerations for LLM users in the field of education, means learners and students. Learners and students. Okay. Academic integrity and avoiding plagiarism. If you are allowed to some extent to use ChatGPT, do that, but mention that. If you are not allowed, don't do that. Over-reliance on AI for learning, again, just like public. As a learner, you should be able to use your mind as well. You should have some mental skills as well to analyze the cases, to analyze the situation, to find solutions and so on. Don't ask ChatGPT to think on behalf of you. Otherwise, in long term, that would be harmful. In long term, it would be harmful. To some extent, it's okay. Using ChatGPT as a guide, as an assistant is okay. But over-reliance on that means that after a while, we will lose our ability to compose a simple email. Or at least we will have some problems to do that. Inaccuracy. You must be careful. In some cases, they are generative AI. ChatGPT is not the Google search engine. If you ask something from ChatGPT and ChatGPT doesn't know the answer, it will compose an answer for you. This is a generative AI model. This is a very important case. Whenever you ask something decisive from ChatGPT, this is your responsibility to fact check that. In some cases, when ChatGPT doesn't exactly know, it will generate a kind of answer for you. Because this is the nature of ChatGPT. This is generative AI. ChatGPT is generative AI. Gemini is generative AI. If they don't know the answer, they will provide somehow. They will make an answer for you. Checking the accuracy of the result as a student, as a learner, results provided by ChatGPT is up to you. In some cases, they may make some mistake because of that basic natural features of them which are generated. So ChatGPT is not Google search engine. Google search engine just search the web. And of course, that if there are some wrong resources, wrong claims in the web, Google will find them and show that to you as well. But ChatGPT case is more hazardous because it will make some answers based on some, because of lack of knowledge, it may try to generate something for you. Transparency with educator. Again, this is important. If you use ChatGPT, let your teacher, your professor, whoever knows that. Understanding the limitations of AI. That's very important. We should be able to understand, we should be able to detect the limitations of AI. I mentioned one of them, inaccuracy. Because they are generative, they may create something for you. Not very factual. Not very factual. This is one of the limitations. Other limitations, okay, we should talk about that. And ethical use of AI in assessment. Again, use them as much as you are allowed to use them. Okay, this is it. And something very important. Learn digital literacy and AI ethics. Learn digital literacy and AI ethics. There are some very good references in the web about digital literacy and AI ethics. This is just like reading the book of driving before applying for your driving license. You are going to use ChatGPT. Learn more about AI ethics. This is your responsibility. And this is not very complicated. Just a few pages, less than 10 pages of terms and conditions. And digital literacy, get familiar to that. Get familiar to that and learn more about AI ethics. My next question from you. Please scan this QR code. I'm going to do that. And please answer this simple question. Which one is the most critical ethical consideration for LLM users in the field of education? I mentioned these 6 terms. I have repeated them in this QR code. Please answer me which one. You are a student, you are a learner. Which one is the most critical consideration for students who are going to use ethical consideration for students who are going to use LLMs like ChatGPT, Gemini, and so on? Let me do that myself. Open the link. Those 6 items are here: academic integrity and avoiding plagiarism. Is it the most important ethical consideration for you as a student who are going to use ChatGPT? Over-reliance on AI, inaccuracy of answers. Why this is your responsibility? Because you may provide these answers to other people. Answers which are not very accurate, developed and created by ChatGPT, other LLMs. Transparency with educators, understanding the limitations of AI and ethical use, generally ethical use of AI in assessments. Try that, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to select the one that you consider as the most decisive ethical consideration for students who are going to use ChatGPT and other LLMs. As I mentioned, 2 important points. One, LLMs are here and they will stay. They are inevitable. Banning, complete banning won't work. We should be able to handle them. We should be able to deal with them and to tackle their disadvantages. Point 2, they are important because they are related to 2 very important topics for us: language and knowledge transfer. Okay, let's see the answers. Let's wait for another minute, then I will show you the answers. Okay. That for this one. I have got 33 responses. Let me show you the QR code and wait for 1 more minute to have more answers. Possibly. Okay. Quality responses. Thank you very much, my friends. Very good. Majority, of course, relative majority, not absolute majority, 42.5%. Academic integrity and avoiding plagiarism. Thank you very much. Good answer. Two, over-reliance on AI for learning. In long term, that would be dangerous. In long term, not quickly, not in short term. 15% ethical use in assessment. Very good. True. Next, 9.8% inaccuracy. Be careful. They are generative models. They will generate eventually they will generate something for you. Next two, understanding the limitations of AI. And the last one, transparency with educator with the minimum votes. I agree that these two are the most important one. Academic integrity and avoiding plagiarism and over reliance on AI for learning. If you ask me, my answer would be something like that as well. Thank you very much for participation. Last part of our seminar. Let me get back to this and move ahead with a couple of more slides that we have got. How to gain from ChatGPT? I'm going to sum up everything. Know its strength and limits. Be clear and specific in prompts. Pay attention to messages generated by ChatGPT. Set the temperature, hyperparameter. Learn more about the setting of hyperparameters that you can use to control the behavior of ChatGPT, such as maximum token length or temperature. Learn the details of prompt engineering. This is a skill that we need to know, all of us. People who want to be active in years to come, they should learn prompt engineering. And iterative refinement of your prompt. Let's start with the prompt. If the answer is not good, just go for a kind of ping pong between you and ChatGPT. Give it more detail and refine your prompt towards having the expected answer. To sum up, LMs are powerful, useful, they are here to stay, and almost all our knowledge is there. Don't ethical consideration. Again, I'm going to add 2 points here. One of them I have told you about that already. This one, learn digital literacy and AI ethics. Just like reading driving books and book of driving rules, traffic rules, before applying for your driving license. Now you need to know this: AI ethics and digital literacy, to avoid those problems, to avoid that misusage of ChatGPT. Don't ever forget, it is a machine and you are responsible as a user, as a student, whoever. Don't forget that ChatGPT is just a machine, and you, as a member of public, as a student, as a learner, whatsoever, is responsible. Okay, that's it. That was everything that I wanted to present. Thank you very much for your participation. And I will hand it over to Piani to continue. Thank you very much for staying with me. I guess we have got a kind of Q&A after this
Yeah.
session. Thank you.
Right, Dr. Emmer, thank you so much for the comprehensive explanation on the ChatGPT. It's very, very useful for me and for us. I can speak on behalf of participant. Yeah. But I think we still have few minutes for time. So probably let's us see if there are any question from participant. So let me scroll to the pages.
Can they type them in Zoom group chat?
Yeah, I think we can. Yes. Okay, let's take a look. So yes, you can type in the chat as well. So far, let me look at the chat. So far, there's no questions. Okay.
Yes, please feel free to ask your question using Zoom group chat.
Yes, he's here. The expert is here. So please.
There are some other options in this Zoom, but
Okay.
using Zoom group chat is much easier for everybody to ask the questions.
I see. I see. Dr. Emmer, what is the alternative way to ask question rather than the group chat?
There are some other things called Q&A. I can't see that here. If we click on
Yeah,
more, there are Q&A option, but Zoom
I
group
can't.
chat is more friendly, easier to use.
Yeah, I can't see. Okay, let me scroll down. Let me scroll down. There's some. We just exam. So okay, I can see some question here, Dr. Emmer. Some question from Parno asking, can you ask ChatGPT to review questions that we use for exam? Quite good question, right? Oh, you're muted, Dr. Emmer. You're muted accidentally, I guess.
Thank you for this good question. It is not only for students to answer your questions.
Yeah.
A teacher can use ChatGPT to have that as an assistant in generating good questions. Of course, that we must be careful about
Yeah.
details. We should give it a good context about the students and the type of questions that we expect that to generate. Honestly, I haven't used ChatGPT yet to have my assessment questions, but it is possible. It works. I can say it works, but be careful as a teacher about two things. One, that accuracy, double check everything. Two, just clearly and concisely, precisely define the framework, the concept. Who are the students? What is the expected time to have this answer and something like this. Give it the detail. That's going to be okay.
Right. But then the other things, then if students know that we generate the question from ChatGPT, they probably can do the same thing, correct? They can predict the questions.
Yes.
Because
So
yeah.
change the phrases
Yeah.
and set the temperature high. I just can say that we have got something, a hyperparameter called temperature. In some cases, not always, in some cases, if you set the temperature high, that parameter is between 0 and 2. If you put it around 1.8, 1.9, the questions generated would be more random. try to be creative in prompting. So your questions would be different from the one that students may have, but still it is possible. Still it is possible to students may do the same and come across the same or similar question. It is possible.
Right.
Another hazard for teachers.
Right. Dr. Amer, it's like you're predicting the next question already, because the next question is asking, could you briefly explain about the use of temperature?
As I mentioned, there are some hyperparameters. Two of them, when that a user can set while using ChatGPT and while doing prompt engineering. In the mode of programming that I showed you, that Python program, etc., not online prompting, using ChatGPT with a program API, etc. It is more controllable. Those hyperparameters are more important in program. But if we use that online mode, usual prompt Q&A and ChatGPT, there are two most important hyperparameters that you can set. One of them is max token that controls the maximum words generated by ChatGPT as your answer. Another one is temperature. Just at the end of your prompt, say temperature colon a number between 0 and 2. The higher the number, the more random the answer generated by ChatGPT. But sometimes you ask a factual question from ChatGPT. For instance, what is the capital of England? In this case, temperature won't play any role. But if question is not that factual, it's a kind of heuristic, a kind of discussion, explanation, okay, temperature will work. If you ask ChatGPT, for instance, what will be the inflation rate in the US in 2025? Something like this. Then setting temperature will work.
I see. So let's I'm go down the chat again, the chat again. So there's a question, one more question, few more question there. Oh, there was thank you, thank you, very clear, helpful. That's good. The next question is how can one learn more about prompt engineering?
There are many references and there are many courses. Just check. We have
Prompt
got
engineering.
a department inside NUS School of Computing called ACE, Advanced Computing for Executives. There are some courses about prompt engineering over there. There are many books and many sites that can help you with prompt engineering and some cheap and free courses as well.
SLE, scoring to the achievement level system, with the misguided purpose of reducing the fine differentiation of students' examination results. The problem is, by taking away the fine differentiation, Ong Ye-kung greatly increased
Is it from you, Dr. Emmer, or from participant?
prior to the
Am I hallucinating?
based on the aggregate score system, and this system worked very well as it was able to.
Okay, I got. I thought I'm hallucinating.
You may
all right.
need
I think
them, yes.
some noise. Okay. So that I hope you got the question. Got the answer.
ACE has got some courses for prompt engineering as well as many books, many sites for that. The best site probably is OpenAI itself. Over there, you can learn a lot about prompt engineering. And finally, let me say that that courses in ACE, etc., they are very helpful. They can help you to learn prompt engineering quickly. However, finally, it's just like riding a bicycle. You should ride, you should fall down, you should ride, and finally you will be a good bicycle rider. It's a kind of skill.
So it's required practice, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, I got that. Yeah. So I hope that answer your questions. Let me move to another question. Is it question? Yeah, more like comment and question. Okay, I have used ChatGPT and noted some technical inaccuracies. Is there a mechanism for the user to feedback the accuracy? Uh-oh.
Basically, yes. Whenever you have the answer, there are some thumbs up, thumbs down. Just use that. And there are many
Oh,
discussion boards. Yes.
okay.
A basic and simple way is using that thumbs up, thumbs down. Another way is in your next prompt, tell ChatGPT that it has made a mistake about this or that. This is another way. Another way is there are many discussion forums provided and supported by OpenAI. Actually, I was a contributor over there for years, back to 2020, before launching ChatGPT. I was one of the person who joined OpenAI to help them with reinforcement learning. It wasn't a kind of technical thing. I was just curious about this model, and we helped them by asking many questions and providing some feedback about the quality of answers. Many people were there, different jobs, different specialties. And now you can use that thumbs up, thumbs down in prompt. And also you can answer, you can let ChatGPT knows about these negative results, inaccuracy, whatever in the next prompt, or you can use that discussion forums which are open. We have got them since the development stage, fine-tuning stage, and reinforcement stage of ChatGPT. You can check OpenAI site, they are there.
Okay. Dr. Emer, there's another question now is about research. So let me read that for you. Yeah. Is it all right to use ChatGPT to qualitative analyze like GTA for writing research paper? If so, is there anything we should note to acknowledge about the use of ChatGPT? It's a good question.
Very good question. Firstly, it depends on the policy of different journals, different universities, and different conferences. In some cases, a university, a research center may somehow prohibit the usage of ChatGPT and other LLMs. Could be an internal policy of a school or a university or research center. Sometimes just for publications, they declare that you can use that, but not when you are going to do this quantitative analysis or qualitative analysis, even qualitative analysis of your results. ChatGPT can help you with that. Good or bad, it can do that. This is one point. Some journals may prohibit that.
Yeah, they do.
On the other hand, if I were you for quantitative analysis, ChatGPT is okay. For qualitative, you need to do some back-to-back tests. Means that double check the answers provided by that. And about the policies, it depends on the journal, conference, and the school that you are working in. They have got different policies. And those policies are time variant. Some 2 years ago, it could have been an absolute prohibition. Now could be a kind of 50-50. 2 years later could be different, could be fully allowed. Depends.
Right. Could be, yeah. Right. So, yeah, thank you for that question. I hope that was clear. And that's another question. How to prevent OpenAI from using the data and from using data in the prompt for the training and abuse?
This is again a very good question. For free users, as far as I know, please check that. Please don't accept that from it, because this is a kind of new question for me as well. You are a user, you type something in your prompt,
Right. Right.
And these prompts would be saved over there. Are
Right.
they going to use that data for fine tuning, etc.? As I mentioned, in some cases, when there are some mistakes in their answer, some uncertainty in their answer, you just give them some feedback. That prompts are there. Are they going to save those logs and use them in the next fine tuning or pre training of their model training from the scratch? Possibly. How can you avoid them? Because this is a kind of your confidentiality. Very simple example. If uh, Samsung personnel, Samsung company, started asking many questions about living in Macau from ChatGPT, any wise guy may guess that this is a plan in Samsung to open some branches in Macau because many of Samsung employees are asking ChatGPT about what is the lifestyle in Macau, if it is cheap, if it is expensive, what is the education for kids, school, international schools, etc. This is a point. And for free users, I don't know. For paid users, there are some terms and conditions that you tick when you join that ChatGPT as a user. In many cases, just like me, we just click on that agree. We just tick and click on that agree. Nobody
Yeah.
pay attention to that details on that terms and conditions. But there should be something about that. There should be something else. I don't like you to use my prompt data. And hopefully they obey that.
Yeah. Right. So I'm looking again, but thank you for your answer for that. So let's just check to the chat again. Seem like there are no more questions. Okay. Right. So yeah, I'm aware of the time as well. So I know that Dr. Emer has prepared the question to the prior answer that the participant kind of send it to us. So he prepared the answer and he you already provide on the slide presentation. Is it okay? We just post that on our website, Dr. Emer?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't need to go through. Yeah.
Yes, that deck of slide and that extra slides that the questions asked about ChatGPT previously, you can share them with the participant, no problem.
All right, thank you for that. So for our participant, there was a set of questions been sent to us before the webinar, and then Dr. Emer respond to that the slide. So I have it uploaded to the website. Okay, so before we leave for today, let me share something just briefly. Okay, but hopefully I can go there. There's some thing I'd like to share here. All right, so just to share with you for the next to share with you, let me share the screen, pull it the full slide here. Show slide. Okay, somehow select show. Okay, here we go. All right. So for November, we won't have any webinar, but then in December, we will have another webinar on AI driven mental health education. So I hope you can join us. And for the January, we have another session on harnessing the power of AI and IoT to drive medical innovation. So that's quite interesting as well. So for today webinar, before we leaving, I would be appreciative if you kind of like screening for the feedback for us. So you can scan the QR code and provide feedback for us. So, then we can, offer the future webinar based according to your feedback. Okay. And then if you like to follow us on the website, Instagram and other YouTube channel, we have 3 platforms. So you can feel free to scan this QR code. Okay. All right. So I'll just leave it for a few seconds. Okay, so please do that. Let me double check the chat one more time before we go. Okay, no more questions. Okay, so I would stop the Okay, that's a lot of thank you to Dr. Emmer. So I think that was a very comprehensive and wonderful presentation, and all the questions you provide is very clear. So thank you very much, Dr. Emmer, for the presentation today, for all the knowledge. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, and thank you all participants to be here and for the good questions. Thank you very much.
All
I
right,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. And also thank you for all participants to join us. So I hope to see you in the next webinar. Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Okay, bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Bye bye. See you
Bye-bye.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You have a wonderful day.